All right. All right, so welcome to class. We're going to start on our back today. And I'm super excited. I just launched my Karuna Yoga Charleston website. And I think it came out nice. And I attached the YouTube channel and I attached my blog. So that'll be a lot of, I just did it just because it was just a fun thing to do. So, who doesn't like building a website? All right, finding a good space, opening up the arms, walking the feet out to the edges of the mat, the knees falling in, right? Just this feeling of, not having to do anything. In fact, that feels really good. Do that. Take a deep breath in, open the mouth, and just let it go. Do a couple of those. When I was studying with Lee Strasberg, that's how we would always start our classes, our warm-ups, was sitting in a chair and just moving your body around and making noise, because the noise, you know, it's a release, right, of tension and things in our body that we don't even know we're holding on to. So sometimes it's really good to make those noises. And that's also where when we om, can also be of help. So if you feel like taking an om, go ahead and you maybe even, if you want to bring your hands onto the belly or the heart, or just keep them wide open. By taking that nice deep breath and a little hum, that opening up of the nasal passages, right? Feeling it in the face. And just settling in here to your own breath, right? The texture of your breath, the longness, the shortness, right? Just sort of what's happening. And I'm going to start off today reading what I read this morning in my quiet time, because I've been thinking about it a lot, and it's really powerful. It's called Being Shaped by Others, and it's from the book of Awakening, Mark Nico. I always love his stuff. So Chung Zhao wrote this about Sun Young Zhao. The whole world should praise Sun Young Zhao, and it wouldn't make him exert himself. The whole world could condemn him, and it wouldn't make him mope. He drew a clear line between the internal and the external. So I thought that was very powerful, right? Being shaped by others. And I believe that statement really gets us to thinking about not letting the opinions of others shape us. So Nepo goes on to say, I have changed a great deal since then. What I do, where I live, who I am, many things have come and gone. The closet in which Chang Zhao's words were taped is holding someone else's clothes. But the words are in my heart, though I still struggle not to be shaped by what others think. This is at once the clearest of spiritual tenets, yet the hardest to stay true to. How to stay open to what others feel and not to what they think. We cannot live without being affected by others. We're only real when we let truth and love shape us from within. Our want to be liked, our want to avoid conflict, our want to be understood, all these traits tense us away from taking the voice within us seriously. Though the earth is touched by everything alive, it never stops turning around the fire at its center. And though we are touched by the stories of strangers and far-off songs of birds lost in the wind, we find our way by following the Spirit's voice to our center. Too much is lost in waiting for someone else to tell us what moves us is real. Right? So your true north. Finding your voice, finding the things that are true to you. That resonates with you. You can hold on to a piece of that as we practice today, or anything else. Let's go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. We can wrap the arms around the shins. Do a little rocking back and forth along the sacrum. Maybe even take the hands onto the knees, and let's do a couple of circles going in one direction and then the other. And then we're just going to hold here. We're going to bring those hands to the knees and we're going to press. So we're just going to do a little bit of isometric work, starting to feel the core turn on. And as you press your hands into the knees, bring your knees back into the hands. And again, you should really start feeling this in your lower abdomen. And release. Bring the knees into the chest. We're going to take it up a notch, and we're just going to let those thighs, or I should say the shins, become parallel to the floor. Right? So a little bit of more work here now, flexing into the feet. Again, those hands are on the lower part of the thighs, upper knee, and we're going to do that same pressure again. And as you do, notice your breath, right? Many times we sort of come into these abdominal exercises and we don't breathe. So can you breathe through this? Can you find an easeful breath, right, as we're working this little core exercise here? And again, release, pull the knees into the chest, gentle rocking back and forth. We're going to take this to the side, right? And we're going to start working a little bit into the periphery and along the sides of the body. So I want you to bring those knees or the shins parallel to the floor again, and then flex the feet. And as you exhale, let the knees together, squeezing together, just float over to the right. Keep your left shoulder down, and then inhale, come back up through center. Take it over to the left. Again, trying to keep that right shoulder down and back through center. And just keep going like that. Let the exhale take you over to the side. You're not going all the way down, right? Maybe like, I don't know, a third of the way or halfway. Whatever you feel like you can do comfortably. Starting to feel those little intercostal muscles, right? Coming online a little bit here. Taking one more side to side. After you finish that last one on the left, again, bringing those knees back to center and giving them a hug in. Last breath here. We'll bring both feet to the floor and we'll cross that right ankle over the left knee. We're going to find that supine pigeon with the fingers wrapped around the inner and outer left thigh. Flex into both feet. And then I want you to shift a little bit over to the left. So again, we're trying to get into a little bit of the periphery of the body here, breathing and holding. Pull that right knee away from you, draw that left thigh in. Nice, and then release those arms back out to the side and let the legs float over to the left. So the left foot's gonna touch down, the right knee is coming up. And then maybe our head is gonna look over to the right. So really working that knee up towards the ceiling. And then slowly releasing the knee, letting the knee fall towards the floor, right? Notice even here, maybe that hip is coming up a little bit higher, getting a little bit deeper side stretch. Maybe you take that left hand onto that right knee, right calf, and just press it down. Nice, release the hand if you took it. Go ahead and bring both legs back up through center. Square off the hips if you feel like they got a little wonky. We're going to cross that left ankle over the right. Draw that right leg up, flexing into the feet. Lots of energy and activity here, right? We're going to draw that right knee in, left knee pulls away. Little shifting over to the side. Noticing maybe you're holding some tension in the throat or in the neck. See if you can let that go. Beautiful. Last breath here. Then let those arms float back out again as the legs fall over to the right. So press that right knee away. You should feel a little bit of pressure in that inner groin as you're opening it up. Look over the left shoulder. And then slowly, slowly let that knee sort of begin to melt down towards the floor. Maybe that right hand takes hold of the knee. You might even notice one side's a little tighter than the other side. Last breath. Nice. Slowly let both knees come back to center. Square up those hips again, and on your exhale, pull the knees back into the chest. And then inhale, stretch the arms long over the head and let those legs grow long. Be as tall as you can. I want you to flex your feet here. And then I want you to bring your fingertips to the floor. So we're flexing into our palms. Imagine yourself upside down in a handstand, right? So maybe that middle finger is touching. We're stretching out through the wrist. Our feet are in flexion and we're breathing here. Energy out through the hands and out through the feet. Beautiful. Go ahead again, bring those knees into the chest and rock all the way up to a seated position. Take your time. We'll make our way forward into a comfortable seat. Bring your right leg in front of your left. All right, maybe move a little bit of the flesh away from those sits bones so you're sitting up nice and tall. We're gonna go ahead and walk those fingertips forward for a forward fold here. So again, our work is to keep the back straight, right? We don't want to round into this little shrimpy back. Actively draw those shoulder blades down the back, let the crown of the head extend forward. Soften the jaw, soften the throat. Try to keep those sitting bones rooted down. And just let those fingertips come out as far as they can comfortably. And we're going to walk our fingertips over to the right. Press that left hip down. Maybe you even cross that left hand on top of the right, like just interlacing the fingers, one on top of the other. And then bringing the hands back through center. Let's come up. We're going to cross that left foot in front of the right. So we're just switching here. Nice big inhales. We sit up tall, relax the shoulders, and then exhale, take it forward. Find your edge tonight, whatever that is. You might want this to be a little more restorative, right? And a little less energetic. You have to make those decisions for yourself based on how you're feeling. And then walk those fingertips all the way over to the left. Again, getting into that right side body, maybe taking the fingertips on top of that left hand. Keep dropping into that right hip. This should feel really yummy. Nice stretch. And then again, taking the hands back through center. Nice. Let's come up to that comfortable seat. We're going to roll forward and find our way onto hands and knees, coming into a tabletop. And let's just go ahead and make some big sweeping barrel rolls, starting with the right, back, left, and forward. Maybe as you come back, the chin goes into the chest. You look straight ahead as it's forward. So everything is moving here, right? We're just organically moving. One more time to the right. And then as you're ready, we're going to do that same movement over to the left. Really press down firmly into the hands. Feeling all parts of the body stretching and moving, right? We're just moving the blood around, moving the synovial fluids and the joints. Last time, coming back through center. Tuck those toes under and lift yourself up into downward facing dog. To Adho Mukha Svanasana. So pedal out the feet here, right? Get yourself into that space. So we want to bring those index fingers forward, widen our hands, maybe a little wider than shoulder distance. Those heels melt down behind the toes. Our belly lifts. And again, we tune back into that breath. Right, this is our practice. This isn't my practice. I'm just leading you, making suggestions. So don't listen to me. Listen to your body. And then inhale, come forward, find a plank. If you had to shift a little bit with your feet or your hands, that's okay. Just find that nice strong plank. And then exhale onto the knees, untuck the toes. Find a child's pose, bringing the hips to the heels, and then come up onto the fingertips. So it's a little bit more active of a child's pose. And then inhale, coming back through center. Again, tucking those toes under to downward facing dog. Inhale, flow forward, find a nice strong plank. And then exhale onto the knees. Let's shift forward and then just open up the chest, gaze left, shoulders back. A little modified upward dog. And then take it back to downward facing dog. Looking forward, come up onto the tippy toe step or hop. Coming to the top of the mat in a nice standing forward fold. First one, so maybe those knees are bent a little bit. Maybe you take hold of opposite elbows. Shaking the head, yes and no. Right, relaxing into the jaw. Noticing areas that you're holding, can you release? Be like a rag doll, start to shake a little bit. Just a gentle bouncing. Bring some attention to the outside edges of the feet, lifting into the arches. And then finding stillness. Inhale, lift halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, take that forward fold. Let's press out through the feet. Bent knees are straight. Inhale, arms reach and extend up and over the head. Tadasana, mountain pose, arms extending. We're gonna go ahead and take hold of that right wrist with the left hand. Big breath in, exhale over to the left. Pressing a little bit more into that right foot, kicking that right hip out. We're gonna hold here and just drop down. So we're gonna gaze at the floor, taking our chest towards the floor, and then inhale, extending up and looking up. Exhale, drop it down. Inhale, open. One more time. Inhale, open. Good. Release the arms, swan dive over the legs again. Nice standing fold. Breathe. And then just slowly roll up through the spine, letting one vertebrae stack on top of the other until we're back upright again. Roll those shoulders. Inhale, take those arms up and over the head. Right arm, right fingers around that left wrist. Inhale, exhale over to the right. Again, a little bit more pressure on that left foot, left hip kicks out. Good, exhale, a little rounding, looking down. Inhale, lift and stretch. Exhale. And inhale, one more time. Exhale, take it down. Inhale, open it up, beautiful. This time, exhale, take those hands around back, interlace the fingers. Open up that chest and then exhale, hinge forward. Little bind here as we fold forward. Beautiful, release the hands. And again, roll all the way up through the spine, coming into that mountain pose, Tadasana. Close the eyes. Find the breath, find your intention. Bring those palms together at heart center. Inhale, reach the palms towards the sky. Exhale, dive back over the legs. Let's bend the knees and we're gonna step that left foot far back. We're gonna come into a little lunge here, coming up onto the fingertips. Press out through that back heel. Draw that left hip forward. Bring that left hand next to the right foot and begin to twist to the right. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. And then we exhale, we bring the right hand inside the foot. We're gonna drop into that heel and walk to the long edge of the mat, turning those left toes in, those right toes out. And we're just gonna take a little skandasana, a little side to side movement here. Last time. Beautiful. When you're back to the top of the mat, go ahead and bring those feet forward again. Hands plant down. We're going to step that right foot back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Inhale, find your plank, top of a push-up. Exhale onto the knees. And then this time, let's go ahead and roll all the way down, bringing the forehead to the floor. Zip up the legs, lift the kneecaps, but not the feet. The hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, slowly release the forehead back to the floor. Tuck the toes, press up through plank or table and into downward facing dog. Notice the pressure in the hands. Make sure that it's even. Come up onto the tippy toes, look forward, step, hop, or jump to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale and release. Bent knees are straight, press out through the feet, root to rise, arms up and over the head, and exhale. Hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands through heart center as we hinge again. Good, place those hands down, step that right foot far back, coming into a lunge on the other side. So try to stay up on those fingertips here, really reaching through the crown of the head, pressing out through that heel, being nice and active. And then slowly bring that right hand to the floor, take a twist to the left. Left arm reaching up. Take a last breath here and slowly release that left hand inside the left foot. Come down onto that back heel and then turn the toes in, right toes out, and a little bit of side to side. Keep that belly lifted, crown of the head reaching forward. And the next time you're back to the left, go ahead and bring those toes back to the front of the mat. And we're going to sweep that left foot back to meet the right again into downward facing dog. Inhale, find your plank. Exhale onto the knees, melt all the way down. Hands up underneath the shoulders, zip up those legs, lift the kneecaps. Inhale, just squeeze those elbows in, lift the head and chest. Maybe the feet come off the floor. Last breath here, go ahead and bring the forehead to the floor. Tuck the toes under, press up through table, and then find child's pose. Taking the hips to heels, forehead to the floor. Gently breathing in and out. Resetting the body. Beautiful. On your next inhalation, let's go ahead and make our way back up through center. Good. We're going to tuck those toes under. We're going to see if we can't find our way back into a plank. Holding a plank, we're going to come into our side plank here. And we're just going to roll onto the side of the right foot. And then maybe that left foot stacks on top of the right. Maybe you need to come down modified, bringing that right knee to the floor. Either way, we're going to try and stack that left hip on top of the right. And maybe that left hand goes up into the air. We're going to see if we can drop into the hip and press back up. Do 3 of these. If you can. Nice. Slowly Bring your hands back, come onto the knees. Shake it out, we're gonna come into the other side. Take a breath, good, tuck those toes back under, let's find plank, lift the belly. Roll onto the outside edge of the left foot, stack the right. Stack that right hip on top of the left, and extend that left arm up. As you're ready, exhale, drop into the hip. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. Inhale, lift one more time. Reach, reach, reach. Beautiful. Take that right hand to the floor. Come onto the knees and shake it out. Take a couple of rounds of cat-cow here. Exhale, round the spine, chin into the chest. Inhale, open up, gaze forward. One more round, pull that belly in. Inhale, open, beautiful. Let's do one more. Beautiful, tuck those toes under, press back, downward facing dog. Always a good place to reset. Settling back into the breath, seeing how we're feeling. Looking forward, come onto this tippy toe step or hop to the front of the mat. Again, into our standing forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release. This time, bring those big toes together, knees apart, and find chair and Utkatasana. So you want to sit nice and low in your chair pose, right? We're squeezing those inner thighs together. We're pressing, we're rooting down through those feet, right? We're drawing that tailbone underneath us. As we squeeze, as we sit, as we lift the chest, wrapping those ribs in towards one another. If those arms up is taking a little too much energy, you can always bring them to prayer. I just keep squeezing. So lower and lifting. Prana and apana. Take one more breath here. Inhale, reach up, look up. Oh, it feels good. And then exhale, dive over the legs. Back into your standing forward fold. Bend those knees, step that left foot far back. Come onto that back foot, and we're going to make our way into warrior two. So whether you cartwheel your hands up or you just walk up the leg, start with your right leg a little bit unbent, right? This way we can self-adjust. We can open up that back hip, find a little bit more energy all the way out, down through the outside edge of that foot, bending deeply into that right knee as much as possible for you. And again, self-adjust, right? So notice where you are in space. You want your hips and your ribs and your shoulders in alignment, right? We don't want to be too far wonky one way or the other. We want to find that nice sweet spot. Arms extend out, and our gaze is over the front fingers. And this is where we hold, right? This is where we root down. We feel our warrior strength here. We're not squeezing into our toes, but we can feel all these muscles lighting up. You can feel a lightness through our chest. All these energy channels are open. We're breathing. We're pressing that right knee away from us. And then we're going to reach that right arm up and over the head for a reverse warrior. And then take it back into warrior two. Another one, sweep that right arm up. And then back into warrior two. We'll do that one more time. And ending up back in warrior two. Beautiful. We're going to take that right elbow to the knee. Start with your left hand on your hip, right? Because some of us might end up actually accidentally sort of rotating that hip back in again. Open it up. Open it up. Open up the chest. Lift that right side body. We're making room in here. Right? And then even notice how much pressure are you using on that elbow onto the knee. You can have a little bit, right? You can start press. So sometimes what I like to do is like play with not having it. Other times letting that elbow rest and then drawing energy forward. So it's like going this direction, right? Like towards that side of the room, towards the knee. And then maybe that left arm reaching up here. If it feels good and you want to lengthen your stance here, you can walk that back leg a little bit wider. Maybe take that arm and stretch it. Palm is facing down. We're breathing. And then inhale, we're gonna take it right back up into warrior two. Reverse the warrior just because it feels super nice. And then take the hands to the floor. Let's take it, that right foot back to meet the left. Again, into downward dog. Inhale, flow forward, find your plank. This time you can find your way into a vinyasa flow. You can do knees, chest, chin. You can do chaturanga. You can do a half chaturanga, up dog, anything that works for you. We'll all meet back in downward facing dog. So the nice thing is, right, you can experiment and explore. You don't always have to do the same thing every time. On the inhalation, look forward, make your way back to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale and release. Good. Bend the knees, bring the hands alongside the feet, and step that left foot back. Go ahead and come down onto that left heel, and we're going to make our way up into warrior two on the other side. So as we come up, right, again, take the bend out of that front knee. Begin that self-adjustment. Open hip position in warrior two. As we rebend, we want to work that knee over to the left, right? We got a lot of action happening in the outside edge of that back foot. Arms are parallel to the floor. Our gaze and our drishti is soft over those front fingers. Reversing the warrior, left arm reaching up. Back into warrior two. Sweeping that arm up. And again, taking it back into warrior two. Last time. So the beauty of this practice, right, we don't have to rush. Bringing that elbow onto the leg. I mean, there's some practices, right, where it's like power flow and you're moving really quickly. But when we're doing this hatha flow like this, we can really spend time in investigating what's happening in our body, right? Where are those sticky places? Where are those places that are super open? How can I make this work for me? This is, the more you dig in to the nuances of the pose, you're working hard, right? So turn on those muscle groups. Don't dump into the joints. We want to use the muscles and be kind to our joints. Maybe we extend that arm up nice and long. Big breaths. And then taking it back up into our warrior two. Beautiful. Reverse that warrior. Oh, and then take those hands back to the floor. Good. Left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into your plank and exhale your way. Knees, chest, chin, or a chaturanga, up dog or baby cobra. And back into downward facing dog we go. Come on to the knees, open the knees nice and wide, feet together. And again, find a child's pose. Before we go any further, let's take a deep breath in and out. Giving ourselves permission to reset. Nice, and then as we're ready, we're gonna make our way back into that tabletop position, tuck the toes again. And back we go into downward facing dog. Coming from the ground up this time, look forward. Step your right foot between your hands. Come down onto that left knee, and again, we're actually gonna walk that back foot back. And I just want you to bring your right hand inside your right foot. Left hand is gonna come onto the sacrum. So we're coming into that side angle again. And we're just gonna work here from the ground up. So maybe bend and unbend that knee a little bit till you find your sweet spot. Sexy roll that left shoulder open so your chest is facing forward, not dumping down towards the floor. This may be enough for you, right? Bring that elbow up here onto the knee. And again, opening up that chest. Nice space here in the side body. Now, some of you are going to stay here. Others of you are going to be able to move into a bind, right? So this is good. Stay here. If you want to bring those hands back to the floor, so long as that chest is open, you can take that left hand back behind the body and maybe find that right thigh and just hold here. Or you can release that right hand, take it up underneath you, find the left hand, and then open yourself up into a bind. Lots of choices. Hold and breathe wherever you chose. There's no right, there's no wrong. Right? So long as we're moving with our body and we're using all of our muscles and we're trying to keep that chest nice and lifted and open. Last breath. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and unbind if we've done that. We're going to go ahead and bring that left hand to the floor to meet the right. So now we're facing the floor. Turn those right toes in, walk to the front edge of the mat. Turn the toes in and then the heels in, so we're shortening our stance a little bit. And I want you to find length in the spine here. So you may have to shift forward, walk your fingertips forward. Try not to lock into the knees. And then exhale, fold all the way over. Maybe you're looking back up at the hip creases or at the wall behind you. Good, coming back. Let's come upright a little bit. We're going to walk our feet wide again. And this time we're going to turn those left toes out. We're going to find those warrior two legs, maybe a little wider here. And we're going to take our fingers towards that left foot. So we just move to the other side of the mat. Right, so making our way up on this side, bring the elbow onto that knee to start. Roll that shoulder open. And then again, make some decisions, right? Staying here, this is enough work. Maybe dropping that hand back down. Maybe taking that left hand, finding it, wrapping it around that thigh. Maybe you take the bind on this side. You choose. Where you stay is where you breathe, right? It's where you're working. That chest is open, feeling that stretch. Good. Last breath here. If you took the bind, unwind yourself. Bring both hands to the floor. And we're going to go ahead and walk back through center. Inhale, I want you to lift halfway. And then exhale, fold all the way over the legs. Lift halfway up again, walk those heels and toes in until they're just underneath your hips. And then I want you to go ahead and bend down, finding our cobbler pose here, right? As we sit in Malasana, bring the elbows into the knees, and just rock back and forth. It feels so good. And if you fall, you're super close to the floor, so it really doesn't matter. A little bit of rocking. All right, release those hands back to the floor. Roll up, finding that forward fold. Gentle bend in the knees and roll all the way up through the spine. Couple of shoulder rolls here. Bring those feet together. And close the eyes. Well done. All right, opening the eyes, let's find tree pose. We're gonna come onto the ball of the right foot and turn, again, right to opening of the hip. Foot can stay right underneath the knee, or it can go all the way up into the hip crease. Starting with the palms perhaps at heart center, right? Find your way into whatever expression of tree pose you'd like to explore tonight. Try not to be stiff, right? Be a swaying tree. So I was reading about this experiment they did where they grew trees under a bubble. And the trees got to a point where they just boom fell over. And they figured out that the reason that these trees ended up falling over was because their roots weren't deep. And the reason their roots weren't growing deep was because there was no wind to make the tree sway enough to anchor itself into the ground. So it had a shallow system, root system. So let's try to be those swaying trees with the strong root systems. Bring the hands back to prayer and go ahead and release that foot down. Close the eyes just for a breath. I want you to visualize that as we move to the other side. Maybe there's even places in our life, right, where we feel like that anchor tree, or perhaps we feel like that tree that grew up in the bubble. All right, bring our weight to the right foot, turn the left toes out. And again, make a decision. Remember, the only place we don't want that foot to land is on the knee because it's a joint, right? We don't want that pressure on the joint. So as you are ready, grow those branches tall. Be playful here. Bring a smile to your face, right? There's anything goes. Do a little dance. Woo! Whatever you want it to look like tonight. Right? But think about that, right? The more rigid we are, the more inflexible we are, the easier it's going to be for us to fall and break. We can be flexible and bendable in the midst of all the stuff coming at us, right? Those roots are strong. Our beliefs are strong. We know who we are, and we are unmovable. Bring those palms back to heart center. Go ahead and release that left foot. Inhale, sweep those arms up and over the head, and then exhale, draw them through heart center as you hinge over the hips. Let's go ahead and bend and find our way back to plank. And then for the count of 5, we're gonna make our way onto our belly. So go nice and slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your favorite cheek to the floor. And let those hands come alongside the body. Letting ourselves relax here a moment in Advasana. You can lift your head and bring the other cheek to the floor. All right, let's bring the forehead to the floor. Zip up those legs. Press down into the toes and lift the kneecaps. And then take those hands alongside the body with the palms facing down. So once you're here, roll those shoulder blades back. So we're making space, yeah? Reach your fingers for your heels and inhale, lift your head and chest. You can stay here, you can lift your feet straight and together. And if you like, you can extend your arms. Little Shalabhasana locust pose. Settle the breathing. Settle the monkey mind. 2 more breaths. And release. Take your favorite cheek to the floor. All right, we're going to bring those feet back together and forehead to the floor. This time we're going to interlace the fingers on the small of the back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And on the inhalation, as you lift the head and chest, reach your fingers for your heels. And then maybe again, you lift the feet, bound locust. You might notice in the bind that you can lift up a little bit higher. Slowly release, take the other cheek to the floor and breathe. Letting that back neutralize. And then as you're ready, bring the forehead back to the floor. Let's make our way back onto hands and knees. Find a scary cat. Pull the belly in. And then with that neutral spine, let's go ahead and reach that right arm up. And then draw that arm underneath the body. Releasing the forehead, the cheek, and the right shoulder to the mat. Good. Press into that left hand, reach that right arm up. And exhale, lower it. Left arm extends up. We sweep it underneath the body and release. Little thread the needle. Beautiful. Press into the right hand, reach that left arm up. And then exhale, take it down. Good. Let's go ahead and come onto our seat here for a forward fold. Bringing the feet out in front of us. Maybe you gotta wiggle a little bit of that flesh out from those sitting bones. Can we sit up nice and tall? Take those hands back behind you and sort of wiggle yourself forward. So you feel like that staff pose, right? It's called staff pose. And you might feel like this is enough, or you can begin to hinge. Remember, we're hinging, not bending. Keeping the shoulders back, hinge from the hips, and extend those arms somewhere onto the legs or the feet or the floor. Let that gaze be down, thoughts be soft. And go ahead and inhale. Good. Let's come all the way back up. I'm going to open those legs nice and wide. Now, little wide-legged fold here. Again, maybe a gentle bend in those knees is what's called for tonight. I don't know. You just have to check in with yourself. Flex into those feet, sit up nice and tall. And then as you're ready, hinge forward. You may not go very far. Shoulder blades are back. Feel that regal neck, right? We want to think lengthening through the back of the neck, out through the crown of the head. That belly stays lifted. We're going to walk those fingers over to the right. Keep pressing down into that left sitting bone. And then back through center. And over to the left. Nice. Back through center. We're going to sit all the way back up. Let's go ahead and bend those knees. Hands come behind us and just windshield wiper your legs. Nice. All right. So finding your blocks, making your way down onto your back. As you roll all the way down onto your back, I want you to lift up and place your blocks one on top of the other or one next door to each other. It's your choice underneath the sacrum. Bring those hands down alongside the body and walk those shoulders underneath you. Notice what's happening with the throat and the chin, right? So we want to lift the chest towards the chin, not drop the chin down. And then see if you can't lift your low back, a little bit off the blocks, tilt your pelvis and then release it back down. So again, lengthening all the way from the base of the spine through the crown of the head. And this is supported bridge. This is just a mild inversion. We're just going to breathe here. And try not to lose your stability or your energy. Right? It's very easy to stop pressing down into the arms, or it's very easy to stop drawing energy forward through the toes. So with one block or two, we're going to bring our knees into the chest and then lift them up into Viparita Karani. So if you don't want to do this, or if you'd like a different pose, go ahead and take your favorite inversion. Slowly lower your feet to the floor. Let's lift up and slide those blocks out. Let the spine settle back down. We're going to cross that left ankle over the right leg. And lifting the right leg up, drawing it in. Supine pigeon, flexing into the feet. And then releasing the hands out to the side, let those legs come over to the right. And you look over your left shoulder. And this time we're just going to drop that top leg down. Good. Coming back up through center. Let's cross that right ankle on top of the left as we draw that left leg up. A little rock, a little squeeze, and then the legs float to the left. And that left knee floats, the right knee floats down, and we look over the right shoulder. And we simply bring ourselves back through center. And taking any last movements that are calling to us before Shavasana. Right, in Shavasana, our last asana, our last pose, corpse pose. You want those feet to be as wide as the mat. Our arms away from the body, palms facing up. And we settle in here, letting the practice absorb. Maybe we need a few deep breaths to clear the space. And then re-let the breath return back to where it lives most of the time. Right? Not thinking about it, only noticing it. Slowly bringing your attention back. Letting the inhales grow longer and the exhales longer still. Filling up like a balloon and deflating completely. And then starting to make some small movements. I like to maybe tap each of my fingers with my thumb, wiggle my toes, feel a big toe next to the toe next to it. And as you're ready, bend the knees, allowing the soles of the feet to rest on the floor. And if it's the end of your day, rolling to your right. If it's the beginning of your day, rolling to your left. Just staying here in this fetal position just for another moment before we come back up. And then as you're ready, making your way back upright to that comfortable seat. Taking whatever posture, legs crossed, feels comfortable to you. Hands can rest on the knees, on the thighs, or even in the lap. I like to sometimes just place one hand inside the other, like I'm cupping them together. Letting the gaze be soft, the jaw soft. Feeling that rhythmic breath settling in and out through the nose. We'll bring the palms at heart center and we'll close with one. Take a breath in and exhale, let it go. And a gentle inhale for Om. Om. Now end by saying the light in me sees, recognizes, and honors that light in each of you. Namaste. Have a great one. I'll see you back here. And thank you.